I'm Talin. Welcome to another astrology report for Sanita Hot Yoga. Thanks to those who tuned in to my report from a few days ago regarding just where the planets are right now. So if you haven't seen that, you can check that out. And this video is specifically on our full moon, which is happening on the 7th, tomorrow, Tuesday, at 7:34 p.m. Pacific time, and it's falling in Libra with our sun in Aries. This is going to be a super pink moon. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be pink in color, but it is the largest super moon we're going to have. So opportunity to get out in the evening and receive the blessing of the light of this super moon. It's going to be the biggest of the year. So so today I'll just be talking about the position of the moon and how it's aspecting other planets and how that's affecting us. And we'll start with just a general explanation of what a full moon is and generally what it does to us energetically, emotionally. So the moon is a planetary body that affects our mind and our emotions and our subconscious. So when we're at a new moon, most of the time people set intentions, and that's a time of sort of darkness where you go inward and you reflect on what is it that you want to manifest and create. And as you're increasing light, as the moon is increasing its light, you're working towards cultivating these things. And in those 2 weeks, we approach the full moon, and at the full moon, we have the most light, the most energy, and in a way, our cup is really full. And when our cup is really full, it can become overwhelming. So there's a lot of built up energy and emotions in ourselves, and then that could cause some turmoil externally, because everyone has all this built up energy. You know, whether it's because you're anticipating your manifestation of your intentions that you set in the new moon, or just feeling really full emotionally, energetically. So in that fullness, what we're doing in the full moon is ceremonially, ritually, is really nice to look maybe 3 days before up to 3 days after is the phase where these energies are affecting. Some people get affected sooner than the full moon actually happens, and so forth. So if we just acknowledge that there is a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, a lot of light happening currently, we want to look at our full cup and see, you know, what are the things that we've been cultivating in these last few weeks and previous, even to previous new moons. So everything doesn't just come to fruition in 2 weeks, it takes some time often. So we're looking at our cup and seeing what is in excess. What are things that we've been, you know, nurturing and nourishing and feeding into and allowing to grow in our lives? What are relationships that are unhealthy for us? What's too much? What is not what you want to keep in your cup? And you decide at that point, this is the time to release it, because as the moon is full, it's this full cup and it's spilling over. And so as it spills over, then you go into emptying it in the couple of weeks before the next new moon. So as we're emptying, so we're honing our awareness, our focus, our intention on what is it that we want to empty and release. And in that process, you're looking at your cup. You also see, what is it that I've cultivated that I truly appreciate and want to keep working on and developing. So in relationships that are, you know, growing and helpful and nourishing to us, these are the things that we want to keep. And so we acknowledge those and we look at that. And, you know, we make sure that we are not losing those in the couple of weeks following the full moon. So that's just sort of the general of how we approach and look at the moon's effect on us and how we deal with it and address it. So I'm going to look at first the moon and the sun and their association in the planets that, the signs that they're in. So of course we have a full moon because the sun is directly opposite from the moon, shining its light fully onto the moon, and so we can see its entire frontal surface. So the sun is in Aries. It's considered the first house, Aries. And we talked about that a bit in the previous video. And so 7 houses away is Libra, clear across the way. And Libra is about partnership. So if Aries is your identity and the first thing, your own personal self, and Libra is relationships, partnerships, they're completely opposite to one another. So we're going to be looking at this dynamic of how you are by yourself, experiencing some isolation, going inward, and how you are in relationship and how you create harmony and balance with your relationships. And it can be relationships not just with people, but with things, what you're creating, your art, your work, your relationship with the earth, nature, all of these things. So all of these things are coming to light, and we're being called to really focus on that. And so Libra is, all about that balance, harmony, beauty, art, relationship, establishing a balance. So the symbol is the scales. So if there is a disharmony, it's very easy for those scales to get tilted. So emotionally, it could be a really challenging time, tilting the scales, tipping them too much on one side or the other. So we're really asked to be able to be really mindful and careful with the way that we deal with ourselves. If we're feeling too much isolation, it could be harmful. We could have a lot of fear, and there is naturally a lot of fear going around for multiple reasons for people currently. And how we're engaging with others. We might have our own fears, and it might spill out, and we might be projecting into our relationships our own fears and our own concerns, and maybe causing some trouble in our relationships. So we want to be mindful not to be doing that in this new moon time. So we really all have an opportunity to slow down, and in the previous video I talked about that a lot. Slowing down, taking time to go inward and reflect and cultivate what is it that you are asked to be creating and offering to the world. How are you, when we come out of this cocooning phase, how are we going to be interacting with others? What will we be sharing? What are we sharing now? Social distancing is really, I don't think, the best word for it right now. It's, physical distancing is a term being used now that makes a lot more sense. We're being probably a little more social right now. A lot of social media communication happening probably before, more than before. So we're still wanting to be really mindful, but take the opportunity to go inward and cultivate your craft, your skill, master something that you've been wanting to for a really long time. Now is a really, really good time. Sometimes when we want to master something, there are things that get in the way. So it's not about always building something. You might have to destroy a thing to have space to create a new thing. So, you know, the full moon is a good time for that. Take a look and see what is it that might be a bit of excess in your path that's not allowing you to create the new or master a new skill, craft. So some things to think about. So I want to look at other aspects that are co-occurring with the full moon, as they're all affecting, you know, all the planets are still happening, they're doing things. So just looking at the chart over here, so, you know, we talked previously about Aries being very assertive and initiating things. So, you know, with this balance of Libra Aries, we might be wanting to be, you know, taking authority, leading and initiating things. And with this Libra heightened emotion full moon, we have to be really mindful to not overstep our boundaries. Maybe we have to be careful that, you know, maybe the people around us in our relationships are maybe not ready for what we're wanting to share or kind of initiate. So being gracious is a very positive aspect of Libra. So negotiating, being graceful in the way you balance that, the way that you are a leader in what you're doing, and the way you know, integrate what others want as well. So creating a relationship and balance in the way that you do that. So what other things that are happening here is, so Mars is the ruler of Aries, where the sun is. And Venus is the ruler of Libra, where the moon is. So very interesting, right? The Mars and Venus is the masculine and the feminine, the male, the female energies. So they are in a... Let me check one sec. They're trine to one another currently. So a trine is 120 degrees away from each other. And it's 4 signs away. So Mars is in Aquarius and Venus is in Gemini. And we talked more about that in the previous video. But for this full moon, this is very meaningful because trines are very auspicious, good, positive energies. They're openings. It's like an open door. So this communication between Mars and Venus is very open in air signs, in Aquarius and Gemini, both air signs. So it's the relationship between sun and moon. They are in these positions currently. The rulers of Mars and of Aries and Libra are Mars and Venus, respectively. So with the sun and moon here and Mars and Libra affecting this, they're creating an opening. So there's a really powerful portal and energy to connect not only to relationships with your partners. There's a masculine, feminine energy. There's also the energy down your center, your masculine and your feminine. So Mars and Venus affecting you. So a really, really good time to bring balance and harmony, opening to your understanding of your own masculinity, your own femininity. So something to think about if you've been putting that on the back burner, not really wanting to approach that topic. That was a really good time. Other things that are happening is Mars is squared to Uranus. So this can bring a little bit of like turmoil, a little bit of unpredictability, because Uranus is that way and Mars is this leader, initiator, go-getter. And so it could be a little unpredictable things could just pop up out of nowhere, especially in relation to any masculine energies. And that doesn't mean just men, but masculine energies as far as like getting things done, being a go-getter, you know. It could be helpful if you're careful and you're kind of slow to jump into things. Just, you know, really see it clearly before you take the action, because Uranus could drive a lot of creativity, because it's really out of the box thinking and qualities that can inspire you in ways that hadn't occurred to you before. But Mars is really pushing you to like initiate and be a go-getter and do this thing. But you want to make sure you don't, you know, just put something out before it's really ready, you know. So take your time with it. No, try not to rush anything, and be especially good to wait until maybe after the 10th of April to kind of move something forward that you come to a like an inspiration with. Just let those emotional waters calm down a little bit, because we don't know what other people are experiencing. If you feel calm and at peace and you feel ready for something, you know, we don't know, other people might not be as calm and as confident with where they are emotionally and how to deal in relationship. So just being really graceful and mindful of other people's experience with this funky Uranus Mars square energy. But you know, take this opportunity to devise new ways of uniting with one another. You know, Mars and Venus want to unite. It's the masculine and the feminine. It's, you know, it's men and women coming together. It's a divine union. And Uranus is throwing in like a little funky wrench, you know, but be smart about how you're moving forward with inspiration that you're getting. That's the biggest thing that I could say. That was like the takeaway of this, is be really slow and careful and really nurture that creative inspiration before you put it out. I hope that makes sense. What else is happening? I'm looking at the chart here. Jupiter is also square to Sun and Moon. So square is 90 degrees. So if that's 90 degrees and Sun and Moon are opposite each other, of course, if it's square to one, it's square to the other. So Jupiter is Guru, the teacher, very expansive, is currently in Capricorn, as we talked about extensively in the previous video. If you haven't seen that and you're interested to know more, do go check that out. So Capricorn, earthy energy, wanting to organize, right? Have structure, have order. Really work driven, you know, very dedicated. And Jupiter there is bringing a lot of lessons to that. How are we organizing our work, our craft? You know, we're learning. This experience, this pandemic is our teacher, you know, is teaching us how to be with ourselves. You know, there's really a lot of opportunity to see how are we triggered by things, and how are we organizing our gift, our craft, our job, our work, whatever you want to call it, your occupation. What is it that you're giving to this world? Why are you here? super great time to cultivate that, meditate on that, be just completely quiet and inward and pay attention. You know, I feel like this is all just such a gift to take this time and do that. If you don't do that now, when all of this is over and people are back to creating the normal again, you know, where are you gonna be? Have you taken the opportunity to really cultivate your inner truths and then be ready to shine and bring that out for everyone? Because we all need you. We all need each other. And these gifts that you come into this world bearing that we don't have. I don't have your gifts. You don't have mine. And if we don't share it with each other, where are we going? And how can we share it with each other if we don't take the time to learn what is it? What is your gift? So I really encourage you to sit in that and pay attention and listen to spirit. Listen to the wind and the water and the rain and the fire and the sun and the earth. Listen to nature. Listen to the birds. When you're thinking about a thing and something occurs, nature responds. Pay attention to that. You know, where is it? It's very symbolic, right? Nature doesn't talk to you in English words or, you know, in human languages. It's nature's language. So, and that takes time to learn too, you know, but use your intuition. Use your creative mind to see and hear and feel. How is nature talking to me, you know? How do we get into that? The square of Jupiter to Venus and, Sun and Moon. So squares are sometimes considered a little bit harsh of an aspect, unlike trines, like an open door, or oppositions, being able to see, you know, could be hard to experience, you know, but it just depends on where you put your perspective. So with squares are really hard teachers, you know, hard lessons probably, a good way to look at it. So Jupiter is really expanding the lessons that the moon has in Venus, using our mind to be super creative, with the sun being passionate and taking initiative steps, like moving forward, you know, being a challenger, a competitor, a go-getter. And our Jupiter is teaching us how to be these things in these roles, and in this moment of this full moon, really looking at how can we do that with harmony, you know? And there's another trine happening with Saturn, Venus. We talked about that in the previous video. That's still existing. Uranus and Mars we talked about. Uranus and Saturn also are in a square. So that's fun. That's really helping to slow down. Like Saturn is asking us to slow down. Uranus is giving that creative, out of the box, funky inspiration. Some people aren't comfortable with that. Some people really thrive on that Uranus energy. Really depends where it is in your chart. And if you're not comfortable with it, it's really good time to learn, where is Uranus in your chart? What is it doing? Where is it? What part of your life is it affecting? Why are you uncomfortable with out of the boxness? Why are you uncomfortable with eccentricity? Maybe that's something that you're here in this life to learn to be comfortable with. So it's really good to see where that is in your chart and learn to work with it, have it benefit you rather than fearing it. So I think that's about it. That's a pretty hefty amount of information, and I really hope that this has been beneficial for you. Again, if you have any questions, if you want to know more about your chart or anything, if any way I can help you, please reach out. I'm sure Kayla will connect us. And again, I'm Talin. You can find me on Instagram at tal.infinite or at Deerguar on Instagram, Deerguar, where we can connect and you can ask more questions about things you want to know about your own chart and things like this. So I'd love to support you in this really challenging time. Remember that we're all in this together. No one's having an easy time with this. And those that are going inward, meditating, finding peaceful, helpful, creative, healthy activities to cultivate themselves through this time are probably going to come out of it more healthy and more vibrant, more at peace. And I hope that's you. And if you've spent the time to watch this video, you probably care about those things and are doing those things. So I celebrate you. I congratulate you. So have a really beautiful time with this full moon. Love yourself up and love your family. Be patient, be graceful. Just keep cultivating more peace and love and light within yourself so that you can share it. And always look for the light in others. Look for their positive intention no matter how it's coming out. So I thank you so much for watching. I will see you soon. I talked about looking at the chart and seeing how Chiron is affecting this pandemic right now. So I'll do that, and then I'll probably make a video on that soon, and maybe talk about Chiron in your chart for all the signs and houses, and see if that's beneficial. And so if you have a specific thing that you want me to talk about, now's the time. So write a message, let me know, and I'll get to that. So again, have a wonderful, peaceful time, wonderful full moon. Blessings to you all. Namaste.